What's good, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning into the Voice Unheard Podcast again. And I'm your host, Dominere Evans, as you know. A lot of people may be wondering why I started a podcast, and there's a few reasons. But my number one reason is I'm not afraid. Afraid of failure, afraid of what people think about me. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Now, we all do have that little, that little thought in the back of our head where we do care about what people think about us. And I agree. I got a little bit of that too. But fear doesn't live inside of me. And I don't think it should live inside of you either. If it's something you actually want to do, I don't think you should be holding back on that, you know? Like, fuck what these people are thinking about you. Fuck what other people are doing. And get to your business. But back to my question. As always, and I had to stand up for this one. Why did I decide to do a podcast when I'm a photographer? So I just finished shaving my head and, shaping my beard up. I do all of that by myself. I used to have a barber, and I'm going somewhere with this. I used to have a barber and now I do everything myself. Why? I like to be self-sufficient. When I first started cutting my hair and shaving my head, I was like scared, and I was like, yo, if I fuck up myself, somebody's gonna see me like this. So leading up to why I'm doing podcasts, I'm a fucking landscape photographer. What do I gotta say? My responsibility is to speak up for more Black men that don't or that can't. I know podcasts is oversaturated, they say, and cool, but that don't stop me. What they say, what you eat don't make me shit. And my question to you, again, why the fuck are you so scared? I have friends, or I used to have friends, or I know people that'll go buy weed, buy drugs, alcohol every weekend, and won't even take that money and invest back in themselves. And that shit is ass backwards to me. Like, what's more important? Where you going or what you doing right now? I know it's good to enjoy the moment, but you not thinking about where you want to end up tomorrow? So I do got fears. And yeah, I am scared. But I'm doing this podcast because I feel like I should be speaking up for the Black men or those of us that actually plan on going somewhere. So if you smoke weed and drink alcohol all the time, and I'm not saying indulging ain't cool or it's bad, but you can like limit yourself to it. But if you do all of that, then this podcast might not be for you. This is for the people that are going somewhere. The people that got their head on straight. They may not be where they want to be right now, but they have a plan. They know where they want to go. You spending your brain cells and your energy thinking about what the fuck somebody that you don't even care about is thinking about you. So we go on our Instagram and we go on our TikToks and all of this shit, and we scared to show our real self. We scared to show that we fuck up too. We scared. We scared to be transparent. All right, I'll be transparent with y'all right now. At first, when I shaved my head, it had to grow on me. I shaved my head because I had waves since I was in 6th grade. And when I shaved my head bald, I really didn't like it. And I was just like, what do other people think about my bald head? And I know we say we're not supposed to give a fuck about what other people think about us, but the reason why I kept it is to get over that. Now, shit, you can't tell me I don't look good with a bald head. Those fears, man, I'm telling you, they're gonna eat you alive. What Jay-Z said, fear is your only God. Fear is your only God. And fear is gonna limit you like fuck. So, I mean, you can keep playing it safe, not spending the money where it's supposed to be spent. Your business, the business ideas you have, you never even put in a penny worth of money. So, once again, I'm trying to get y'all to see that as Black men, I know they say we are one of the most targeted groups in the US. I agree. And here, I just want to express how the fuck we feel. So I got a story for y'all. I'm one of those people that I help out somebody whenever I can. I'm like the biggest kind-hearted person you can actually meet. Nah, like real shit. I give my last and everything. But one thing I do, and I feel like this might be the reason why I am so giving, because I give everything to myself as well. Like this podcast, I just thought about starting it like 2 weeks ago, and here I am. I went and bought the necessities that I needed to get this shit off the ground. I don't live in the whole process of this is just a thought. No, thinking isn't going to get me anywhere. And if you just living in your head and you got all these ideas and fear is the only thing stopping you, and you got to get motivation all the time, you got to be around people that's doing something all the time positively and be the driving force in your own life. Stop putting that shit on other people to push you. One gripe that I do have though, and I just want to like turn to like some photography shit a little bit. I'm a Black landscape photographer. Think about that. A Black landscape photographer. You go search YouTube and you tell me, what do you see when you type in landscape photographer? I can tell you it ain't us. And I mean Black. But even with that information, it didn't push me away. It didn't shy me away or make me fearful to go after it. I invest in all my own gear, not sponsored by anybody. Ask my fiance how many times I done changed cameras. And that cost, shit, hell if I know, a lot. But what I'm telling you is, I think, all right, here's a thought, just off the cuff. I think in order for us to get over our fear, like let's say if you have a fear, I think you have to invest or actually put something on the line to push you forward. Like you have to do something a little risky that's going to make you alleviate that fear you got. All right. So let's say if you want to start a business. Everything is just a thought right now. You want to start a business and you writing it down, you planning, you doing all the shit that you're supposed to do, going with the motions. I know. I did it too. But you haven't put a dollar towards that business. one thing I had to learn to get over the fear is being productive and planning. It's another form of procrastination. And I feel like that contributed to my fear like a while ago. But I feel like I stopped being fearful when I was about 17 years old. 17 years old, I started traveling the world by myself. I had friends like, yo, you are going to Mexico by yourself? Like, nigga, you going to Mexico by yourself. Not only did I go to Mexico by myself, I took a 3-hour van ride from Cancun to Tulum and fell asleep in the van. And then I realized it was cartel territory. The thing is, I feel so comfortable in myself. If something is supposed to happen to me, or if it's supposed to happen to you, whatever it is, like, it's going to happen, just period. So let that fear go. It's only but so much motivation you can actually take in. So with that being said, I always want to talk about, hold on, y'all, let me find a new song. And y'all don't hear it because that's just what it is. It's in the background, and I'm sure this shit'll get struck down or whatever. I don't know how copyrights work with podcasts yet, but we here. But let's talk about a belief. So I'm taking this off of physical now because I want to like contribute my spiritual belief and my physical, like earthly beliefs as well. I think about the government and how they make a lot of people fearful. Like, I tell my fiance this all the time and my family. Or not even the government. Let's take it off the government first. Let's hit religion. If hell and heaven wasn't real, what do you think people would be doing right now? I don't know if you ever thought about it like that. Maybe you have. But if hell didn't exist, you don't think people would be out here like wilding out? If heaven didn't exist, you don't think people would be wilding out? And in my eyes, I believe in God, but I believe in reincarnation more than anything. Here, I'm just being free, y'all. I'm just being free. Just relax. Just listen. So let's think about the government. And let's think about religion mixed. You don't think the government introduced religion to make you fear so you won't do certain things? Even past that, I think about music, how music has so many subtle things that we don't listen to and so many subconscious things that we don't hear, or movies that have, those underlying messages. Like, it put it in our subconscious to be fearful of a lot of things. You got to remove that governor off your mind. That's all, like, that's all you can do. Remove the governor off your mind. But I want to stick to our government right now. And y'all just flow with me. We still talking about fear. And I'm going to get back to business and all of that stuff soon. Just stick with me. If the government makes you scared, or I feel like the government may hold things back so we won't be afraid, or they might not tell you the entire truth. And I feel like we do this to ourselves in everyday life. You might know the truth, but you don't want to believe it. Or you'll try to erase certain things out of your mind when I'm like, nah, this is like reality. Like, you can't run from this. So fear is just like, it's no choice but to face it. Y'all keep running and running and running. You don't get tired? I said that in my last podcast. You don't get tired? How long you gonna run? Like, when are we gonna stand up and face this shit? The things that we go through. Oh, we too scared. We got childhood trauma. We got a whole bunch of trauma from our relationship, our parents, and all of this. And we are keeping ourselves in bondage. So many fears that we don't even think about on a daily, or we don't even reflect on it. We don't even like to think about it. And not only do we do that, but like I just said, the government do that to us. So we die, and we die with that fear. I'm very adventurous. I done swam with sharks before. I done swam in the coldest water in the world in Iceland. Been to the Swiss Alps, and a lot of people got altitude sickness, and I'm planning on going skydiving. And it's just like, I talk to some people and I'm just like, they say, I'm not doing none of that shit. I'm just like, everything is about fear. You don't want to leave that job because you don't got a backup plan. But the thing is, you could have been working on your business or working on yourself or whatever you wanted to do. It don't even got to be a business. You could have been working on yourself, working on whatever you wanted to do to leave the job. Your manager's nagging you, they annoying as hell, and you deal with it because you fear of what's going to come if you was to leave. And you play goody-goody because you scared you might get fired. We know job security isn't real, so everybody should be fearful at this time. You know what I mean? So with that being said, so on to religion again. Why don't you live as if heaven and hell don't exist? Now, I'm not saying drugs kill, no purge or anything like that, but positively live like heaven or hell doesn't exist. Live as if the government isn't controlling you. Live as if you don't have trauma. And if you do, go get that shit squared away. Go get that shit situated. In all honesty, I am tired of hearing the fearful trauma stories. Like, you are 40 years old or you are 30 years old and you are scared to do something because you say it reminds you of a certain thing or a certain someone. So what comes out of getting over those fears? When you get over the fear of fear, it's nothing but it's like, so fear is like the nighttime, and when you get over it, it's like the morning time is here. It take the blinders off your eyes, you know? Like, take the blinders off your eyes. Like, we are capable of doing this. Take the blinders off your eyes. Put the money into your business. Hit the gym. Don't give up yet. So one positive thing I noticed about me, as far as getting over my fears, and I would say it helps me to help other people not be afraid, if that makes sense. And maybe I'm just speaking from a person that's not fearful of anything. Like, I'm not afraid of death or anything like that. And it's a difference between being nervous and being scared to do something. So let's get that clear, because I do get nervous sometimes. And I'm sure you do too. But my fear of anything doesn't exist. and I don't fear dying. And if you don't have a fear of dying, then I think it should be pretty obvious that you probably don't have any fears. Or what are you afraid of? So back to why I started a podcast. I started a podcast because I don't care what nobody think about me, and I don't fear it either. Yeah, I'm a landscape photographer, but I said I got to speak up for black men that don't have the voice. There's a lot of men on podcasts and shit, but it's not a lot of black men. And the black podcasts I did hear, they don't actually make podcasts no more. So I said I want to make podcasts for men that don't have that resource. So that's why I did this. And I don't have a fear of it because I'm not looking to get a lot of viewers. I don't care about all of that. This is only for like a specific audience anyway. And it don't even have to be for black men in general. This is for everybody. So if you do have a fear of anything, or you have a trauma that's turned into a fear, I would say seek help. But first thing is admit it, face it, reflect on it, because it's the only way you're going to get over it. And if you have a business, start putting some money towards it so you can actually know, like, I risk something to actually make this happen. So I actually have to go forward with it. But if you do have a fear, just follow the steps. And I'm sure you'll start living like never before. Trust me, I'm telling you from a firsthand experience. But once again, thank y'all for tuning in to the Voice Unheard Podcast. And I'm your host, Dominere Evans. And I hope you tune in again. Like I said last pod. If you don't, that's cool. But trust me, we're just going to continue growing and continue posting. And the people that need to hear it will hear it. So, I love y'all. And I hope you enjoyed. And I'm out.